In the US, the Trump administration has revoked Harvard University's ability to enroll international students. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem ordered the ban, which is part of an escalating battle between the Trump administration and America's oldest university. Around 6,800 foreign students are enrolled at Harvard, more than a quarter of the student body. University officials say the action is illegal. DW's chief science editor Zulfikar Abbany is joining me now. Zulfikar, how is this being received internationally in the science community?
Well, this is not the first move, and so we've seen internationally quite a very worried and concerned reactions. In Germany specifically, the Science and Research Minister Dorothea Bär has called this a very terrible decision, and as with Karl Lauterbach, who some people might know as having been one of the chief spokespeople during the COVID pandemic, is also still in politics, has called this almost like science suicide. And so right now the German government is trying to do what it can to negotiate some kind of terms to make the situation better for German students. But internationally, even also China, which has a huge number, almost the majority of foreign students at Harvard University, has also expressed its concern about this.
Now, how will this affect academic freedom? It is an attack on academic freedom, is it not?
You could say that. I think it's more about, personally, I think it's more about a sense of perception. And there is this so-called chilling effect that has been going on for some time since President Donald Trump retook office. There have been these accusations not only against Harvard, but against at least another 6 universities, so-called elite or Ivy League universities in the States, that they are essentially tolerant of anti-Semitism. And that they have been overcome by indoctrinated by a sense of a certain ideology, what some people call wokeism, etc. And this is what the US government has criticized. Academic freedoms, yes, in a sense, because we've also seen a ban on certain scientific terminology. So there will be some studies that just won't get funded if you use certain words in your sort of application for funding. Essentially, though, yes, freedoms scientifically, but also for people, certain Chinese nationals who are studying at Harvard, they're leaving their homes because they're worried that the Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents might pick them up in the night. This is not just some hocus pocus idea. It has happened. It's been documented and reported that foreign students have been picked up and carted away. And also they're not going home because they fear that they won't be able to re-enter the country. So there is a general sense that freedoms across the board are being reduced. And this idea that the US is saying no new enrollments for the coming academic year at Harvard, and is suggesting that current students at Harvard seek places at other institutions, this sense has historically, under autocratic governments in the past, it has formed. You basically shove the people that you're targeting, into ever smaller circles until they feel the pressure, or you find it easier to basically shoot them like fish in a barrel. So it is definitely an attack on freedoms, and people around the world are feeling this, definitely in the scientific community.
DW Chief Science Editor Zulfikar Abbany there, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, well, for more on this story, we're now joined by Jonathan Jacoby. He's National Director of the Nexus Project, an American non-profit organisation dedicated to combating anti-Semitism. Great to have you on DW News tonight. So the Trump administration is demanding Harvard makes changes to help fight anti-Semitism. How much of an issue has anti-Semitism been at Harvard?
There's been some anti-Semitism at Harvard. There's been anti-Semitism at a number of universities. There's also been a lot of peaceful protest. Mostly there's been peaceful protest. I don't think that the president is using anti-Semitism accusations in order to address anti-Semitism. I think he's using them as a pretext to undermine academic freedom in this country.
Well, have past US administrations pressured universities into complying with their policies before?
From what I understand, past administrations have worked with universities to achieve certain changes and certain reforms, but never this kind of pressure before.
And returning to what you were saying there about the Trump administration using anti-Semitism, does that then have a negative impact on say, people like you who do fight actually against anti-Semitism?
It has a very negative impact on what we're trying to do. We're trying to address real anti-Semitism, which, by the way, we find in the administration itself. Sometimes, as we saw last night in Washington, D.C., we saw real anti-Semitism when Jews were targeted at a Jewish event. And we see real anti-Semitism across the country. We don't see it, by and large, in college campuses where there are demonstrations and where there are attempts to protest. I don't necessarily agree with all the attempts to all the protests, but they're not anti-Semitic. And more importantly, what we're seeing is an attempt to undermine our democracy. And there's been nothing more important for Jewish safety in this country than our democracy.
So are you saying then that this kind of policy that we're seeing from the Trump administration essentially is having it's a crackdown on academic freedom and free speech then?
Oh, there's nothing, it's more than that. It's a crackdown on academic freedom. It's a crackdown on university attempts to bring more diversity and to bring more openness to their campus. It's a crackdown on Ivy Leagues. It's a culture war. It's a crackdown on a lot of things that are the opposite of what it takes to fight anti-Semitism. All of these things, the coalitions that are built on university campuses in order to bring diversity and openness are important to fighting anti-Semitism. That's what helps us be strong. That's what helps us be safe.
All right, we'll leave it there, Jonathan. Jonathan Jacoby, National Director of the Nexus Project. Great to have you on DW News tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.